everybody! So today we are talking about comparisons between Yang and Ilya. So by the time this will come out, it's probably Tuesday. So basically here on in, all of our videos are going to be about Ilya. Because by this time I'm like, okay, it's for free on the Rooster Teeth site. If you don't go see it and you get spoiled, you're lazy, okay? I can't save it.
But we're going to put a big ol' spoiler tag on these.
Well, I mean, it's obviously like, when I put videos that have RWBY Volume 5 marked on them, they're spoiler videos. So yeah, we are gonna, like, put
Someone's
something...
still gonna complain about it.
I don't care.
Probably rightly so.
I mean, like, here's the thing. It's free for everybody if you make an account on their website. Like, if you're too lazy to make an account, obviously, if you don't give it...
Not even if you make an account, you can show up without an account and watch it.
Yeah, and so obviously you don't give enough of a shit, okay? And so I don't care.
That's what I used to do before you started buying him.
And so, like, for now, we're gonna, like, all of our videos are gonna be about Ilya. If you get spoiled, that's your own fucking ass, okay?
Oh my god, you're a little aggressive here. It's a show, don't...
But today it's Tuesday, okay? And so I didn't want to start with our big Ilya stuff right away, because this could be, like, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't spoil anything in the episode comparing Ilya to Yang. And so, basically, our comparisons for Ilya to Yang are based on, the current episode, and so let me explain. So, basically, what I sort of want to talk about is that we see Yang juxtaposed to Ilya, I would say, if that makes sense. We see Yang, who is very angry about Blake leaving her, and Ilya's kind of angry about the same thing. Yang's eyes turn red, Ilya's eyes turn red. So, like, I guess more in depth, I want to talk about Ilya first and then kind of compare her to Yang, because I feel like that's the easiest way to go. So, like, how Ilya was sort of, like, we already know, but how she was like, oh, I wish that you looked at me the same way that you looked at Adam, and all that other stuff she said, and her eyes, like, she was blushing at first, but then her eyes turned red, and she was kind of like, well, I guess it doesn't matter now. Like, she is in a very similar angry place to Yang, and I feel like the eye color changes, like, eye color is very important, I would say. Like, the changes between Yang and then, like, the changes between Ilya, because Yang has been getting, I don't want to say preemptively angry, but it doesn't take her a lot for her eyes to change anymore, and their eyes don't lie, right? And so I keep saying that in
like their hips don't lie.
Oh my god.
I'm
making a Kingdom Hearts reference, not a Shakira. So
something,
RWBY,
Shyamalan-adeption.
So
right,
so Yang, like, when RWBY looks at her, she's like Yang, because she realizes that Yang is really angry, but Yang doesn't even realize that her eyes have changed anymore, you know what I mean? She doesn't realize how angry that she really is. Yeah, and so you kind of get that same vibe with Ilya, is at first Ilya's blushing, but then Ilya closes her eyes, and then the blush moves from her face onto her eyes, and she's very angry as well.
Oh, and she's fine.
Right? And so it's a different red than Yang, because Yang is angry, like, Yang's eyes only have one shade of red, but with Ilya, you can kind of see her emotions, and so that was more
a veritable rainbow. It's almost like she's a chameleon.
That was more of a pinkish red, so it was more like an anger because of love.
And I mean, I mean, as long as I'm making pop song references, karma, 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 chameleon.
Anyway.
You come and go. You come and go.
So you kind of have that comparison, right? You kind of have the comparison of both of their eyes changing in those sort of, I don't want to say...
Lovin' would be easy
moments.
If your colors were like my dreams.
Like, that Ilya isn't that different from Yang at the moment. Ilya is mad that Blake left her, not necessarily the White Fang, but left her in it sort of for Adam, even though she didn't really go anywhere, but fell in love with Adam instead of falling in love with her. Whereas Yang is mad at a physical leaving, Ilya is mad about Blake, I don't want to say emotionally leaving, but you understand what I mean, right? That Yang is mad about the physical because Blake wouldn't have been able to be there for her, but Ilya is kind of mad about the same thing because Blake fell in love with Adam, they couldn't have been together. So it's sort of a similar, like, emotional thing, but Yang is mad about the physical leaving because that impacted her emotional state. Ilya is more mad about the emotional state because that then got Blake to leave the White Fang physically, if that makes sense. Because it's really sort of the opposite, that Blake fell in love with Adam and left the White Fang, right? And so Ilya fell in love with Blake and then Blake left. But with Yang, it's that Blake left and she didn't kind of realize how much she needed Blake until Blake left. So Ilya knew how she felt before, but Yang didn't know until how she felt after, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, and so do you feel me on that comparison, Hunter? Like, what do you want to say about that?
I say that I think it continues with the importance of color in RWBY, as much as I fucking hate the naming convention. The idea that their eyes and their faces, especially with Yang and Ilya, that's very important to this scene, I think is, lack of a better word, important.
Yeah.
My God, Blake has scorned a lot of people. Like, we've got 2 women scorned in, like, one episode. I think that's
and so that's why they compared that to each other, if that makes it. Like, that's why I think that they did that, because you see that Ilya is scorned in a similar way that Yang is, even if we don't know if Yang loves her, or if she loves her in a more platonic sense. But I don't think it matters, really, because I still think that that brings the same amount of hurt. I
think, yeah, I would argue that it brings, I think it's very platonic. I'm not platonic at all, how Ilya feels about Blake.
Ilya wanted to fuck her. Like, just, let's just get that out of the...
But I also feel like how Blake, how sort of Weiss and Yang handled their frustration, it was similar. Like, that gives hope that, like, okay, maybe there could be something to this. Yeah. There could be redemption for Ilya, which I think is also very important.
And I think comparing her to Yang helps, because there was that tournament scene, right, that where Yang punched Mercury, and Blake didn't really know what to believe because she saw Adam turn evil in her eyes. And so that kind of is a callback, I think, to Blake believing that Ilya can be redeemed, sort of like how she thought that maybe, like, she was unclear about Yang's innocence, she was unclear about Ilya's innocence, and she thought that Ilya could be redeemed because of what Sun said, and that also sort of applied to Yang during the tournament arc in Volume 3. And so I feel like that there's a lot of comparisons to be drawn between them, and it's sort of like history repeating itself, because at first Blake was afraid of Yang sort of turning to Adam, but now I think that, I don't know if Ilya was included at this point, like, in the story. Like, I don't know if in Volume 3 they considered Ilya existing or anything, but I think that it would be fair to say that maybe Adam wasn't the only thing she was worrying about, now that we have context, that maybe, like, now that we see, like, Ilya, like, we can kind of see that maybe her worry for Yang is sort of the same as her worry for Ilya. It's sort of like that she, again, and she says this, she says that, Ilya, you weren't always this way, and then Ilya says, I was, but you just were too busy falling in love with Adam to notice. Meanwhile, Yang hasn't always been this way. You know what I mean? And so I feel like there's also that contrast, as much as there is a comparison, is that, like, I don't want to say that Yang was falsely accused, but with the tournament, yeah, she was. Like, it was fake. But now her anger is very real. You know what I mean? Like, she's kind of become the thing that Blake was afraid of, not because she was that at the time that Blake thought it, but because Blake left, if that makes sense. And so Ilya's sort of, I think Ilya's the same. Like, I think even though she says, I was always like this, like, that's not true. Like, I think that she's been tainted by what happened.
I also think you have a tendency to feel as though the way things are now or the way things have always been. I think that's just common in life.
And so I feel like with Ilya it's the same as Yang.
Especially with people, like, in rough situations. Oftentimes you'll feel like...
That Ilya's like, it was always this way, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it was. I think that it's the same situation as Yang, where Yang has only gotten more angry because Blake has left her and all of this stuff has happened. I think Ilya is the same way. Like, because judging how she was in the trailer, we can see that that's obviously not really true. Like, yeah, she did hit her friends, but they kind of deserved it. And I think Blake understood that they deserved it. But, like, we don't see Ilya really, like, as violent as she is now, because Blake was still here with her, and, like, you see how she looks up at Blake, and it's a very, like, puppy dog eyes sort of situation, you know?
Like, love me. Like when your cat brings a dead rat to your door.
Exactly. And so, I feel like that... Yeah, I feel like Ilya's full of shit just like Yang is full of shit. Because Yang says, like, why would I want her back? And I feel like that's sort of the attitude that Ilya has. Like, oh, it doesn't matter now how I feel for you. Like, obviously they're both lying. And so I feel like this is why they did this in the same episode. You know what I mean?
I believe we'll be later doing an episode of this. Or a video. We've become episodic now, Cal. I hope you realize. We'll end up doing a video about, like, the possibility of, like, Redemption Part 2, or that will probably be in our shipping video.
We're just gonna talk about Ilya all week, so, yeah, like, how can I help you?
O'clock, everyone. Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed
Ilya's
this.
all the way down.
If you guys...
Karma, chameleon.
If you guys...
Love it would be easy if your colors were like my dream. You know what's fucked up, too?
What?
In that song, they're like red, gold, and green, and Ilya turns red, gold, and green. So I'm starting to think that, like, I think she's based off of, like, that Karma Chameleon song.
Anyway.
Chameleon? I said karma a lot. It's become, like, when you say a word, it starts to lose its meaning. Anyways, continue.
Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to pledge to my Patreon, please. You guys will get rewards and early access, and it's also my birthday. It's been my birthday all week, so, like, don't worry
You're
about it.
a fucking liar.
My birthday is December 7th.
It's the second. It's 5 days away.
I know.
Like, it's not.
It's fine.
You're a liar.
Anyway, I'm just telling you guys that if you want to do something nice for me. Also, you'll get early access to all of our videos.
Karma Chameleon will be coming for you.
Anyway, we will see you later. Bye, guys.